My name is Cheria, and for a living, I turn workplaces into growth spaces. This podcast is a front row seat into my own personal and professional development as I talk with inspiring people about the growth that takes place at the intersection of work and life. Welcome to Grow There with Cheria. So I've been thinking a lot about creativity lately and making creativity into a practice, which is hard at times when we've got a lot going on, right? But many of you know last year I went through the artist way and I spent a lot of time thinking about how to reconnect with the artist that's in me. And that's been surfacing again. I've been wondering if I need to start implementing some of the things from the artist way again. This has led me down this thinking of going back into my life and remembering the most creative chapters of my life. And I actually think this is an interesting exercise. So I invite you to think about what were the most creative chapters of your life? For me, I had a big burst when I was probably around 19, 20, and in my early 20s, all of college, really. And this burst started with a friend of mine. Her name was Sarah. And one day, Sarah asked me if I'd ever painted on canvas before. And I never had. And she's like, great, come over to my house. We'll do kind of a little paint day and sit on my porch and paint. And so we got together. And I remember being a little intimidated at first. Where do you start with a canvas, a blank canvas, and all these paints and a paintbrush? Where do you start? But I ended up falling in love with it. I ended up falling in love with just the feeling of mixing colors or the feeling of a paintbrush on the canvas, the way it kind of glides over it. It just felt so good. And from that point on, all of college, I painted. What Sarah did for me that day when she asked me if I'd ever painted and created a container for me to actually show up and have this experience was she gave me permission to do something I never would have thought to do. This was before, by the way, there were things like those like paint and sip parties or companies where you can go and they teach you how to paint something and you sip wine. This was before any of that had really blown up. And I remember when she gave me permission to paint, and that became this thing that I just did. Everyone who came to my house to visit me at I should say, at my college dorm, I'd say, "Hey, have you ever painted? Do you want to paint?" And I would say by the end of college, every single one of my friends had spent time painting with me and had probably most of them painted maybe for the first time on canvas with me. And I it makes me think about how much we sometimes need each other to give us permission to have that unlock, to tap into a new part of ourself, and in this instance, a creative part of ourselves. And this is all like a weird backwards way of getting to today's guest, because today's guest is one of the most creative and talented people that I know, and he happens to be Sarah's brother. And I always loved being near this family because all of them oozed creativity, and in so doing, gave me permission to explore corners of myself that remained unexplored. And so I am so excited to introduce you to today's guest. Taylor Hughes has spent more than 25 years making a living on the stage, becoming a highly sought after keynote speaker known for helping leaders become voices people actually listen to. Blending powerful storytelling and real world experience, his talks have impacted audiences around the world. When he's not delivering keynotes, Taylor can be found performing his signature style of comedy and magic across the globe. He's also an author, and his new book, Tell It Well: The Definitive Guide to Public Speaking for People Who Would Rather Be Anywhere Else, comes out this summer. And you can order it, and I'm making a note right now to tell you to order it, pre-order it right now, because if you go on and pre-order right now, what comes with it is a 2-hour virtual workshop and a 1-hour public speaking masterclass. So, if you have any interest in leveling up your public speaking, and this is especially for those of you who maybe you're not like trying to become a keynote speaker, but you have to give presentations at work all the time and you have to be in front of people for various things. And you just want to have a little bit more confidence and have what you need to get out there and just like do what you do well and feel good about it. This is for you. And I cannot tell you a better person to learn this from. I have known Taylor since I was probably like 12 or 13 years old, and since we were young, Taylor has been like, there's just been something so special about him, and on stage, he just lights up a stage. He knows how to capture an audience, and he knows how to teach you the most profound things in the most simple ways. Anyways, I gotta get out of the way so we can actually talk to him. So, without further ado, it's time to grow there with Taylor Hughes. All right. Hi, Taylor Hughes. How are you?
I am so good. Thank you for having me. Let me crash the party.
Oh my gosh. I think I've been waiting for this kind of moment between you and me for actual years. Like we reconnected a few months ago,
Yeah.
but I just you're such a special human. You were in my life in such an interesting time of both of our lives, I think. And when relationships kind of, everyone goes, lives their lives, goes separate ways, but you have people who like remain in your heart. And you're just
Yes.
like, one
Yeah.
day I'm going to reconnect with this person.
Yeah.
Um, and watching you and how you've really transformed your whole life, I've been just chomping at the bit to sit with you and share you with the people who I know and love in my community and circle. So I'm so grateful you're here.
I am so grateful that you asked, and when we reconnected, it was it's fun. You know people, and especially when you know people when you're both, like, younger versions of yourself,
Mhm.
you go,
Mhm.
"There's a lot of incredible, like, gifts and, like, almost like we all have ingredients to the people we're gonna become." And you just go
Yes.
like, it's like, "I wonder what the chef's cooking up," you know?
Yes.
And so when we reconnected and I saw all the work that you're doing and the conversations you're a part of and the transformation you help people have, I went, "Well, this all makes sense." Like, that's how the puzzle was supposed to fit, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's wild. It's
it's
pretty
crazy.
wild.
What a life. Look at
What
us.
a life indeed. What a life indeed. Well, listen, I know there's just so many things we can talk about, but we're going to follow the format of this podcast and we're going
Okay.
to start with you telling me a story. And this podcast is all about people telling me their stories of growth
Yeah.
and starting with something that happened in their personal life that
Mhm.
impacted them professionally or vice versa.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to put the heavy lifting on you. And thankfully, you're a master storyteller
Oh
to
my
no
goodness.
pressure,
Oh my goodness. No,
but I'd love to hear your story.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk to me about the idea of sharing a story around growth and how business life impacted personal or vice versa, I mean, there's the immediate story that comes to mind is I worked for an organization that I was a part of, the community that this organization was kind of the head of for years. I mean, I was aware of this place from the time I was 8 years old,
Mhm.
and then I got involved volunteering first with this organization, and I was the kid growing up who just wanted to help, and I wanted to make a difference, and I always, from the time I was, I don't know, 7 years old, I wanted to be a performer. I just knew,
Mm.
you just know sometimes you just go like, "Oh, this is my lane. This is the thing. This is the currency that I'm able to operate life on," And I was the
Yeah.
kid who can make people laugh and,
Mhm.
tell a story and have fun, and so I got involved pretty quickly as a teenager with this organization that I eventually ended up working for, not intentionally. but because I just kept putting my hand up to help. And,
Mhm.
often in life, if you just show up, people take notice and then you get more
Yeah.
opportunities, which is great. And, I for a long time, I didn't really ask a lot of deep questions of what do I want out of life? What do I hope to, leave on this planet? I just was so sold out to this one organization that I thought, if
Mm,
I just give everything to these guys, it's all gonna work out.
mm,
And, I got to a point where I've been on staff for 13 years, and I had finished my degree. I got my degree as in organizational leadership, and
mm.
probably one of the worst things that this group could have done was encourage me to go back to school,
Right.
because I went
Yeah.
back and studied organizational leadership and sat in class for 4 hours a night going, "Well, we don't do any of this."
Mhm,
And you
yep,
start to study a subject and then realize,
yep,
"Oh, we have no organizational leadership."
mhm,
And, so I found myself in this unique situation at 33 years old, being a guy who had invested every ounce of my life, my energy, my ability into building something that one day I woke up and went, "I don't wanna be a part of this."
yeah,
And
yeah,
so I'll make a long story short, but basically when we left this place, we didn't just lose I didn't just lose my job by
mhm,
resigning. I lost every relationship I had,
yeah,
our, the it was a place who was very much you're with us or you're against us. And the minute you weren't
yeah,
there, it was like, "Hey, you're not helping us build, so you're actually someone who's tearing down." And so,
yeah,
um I don't think I fully realized all that I would be losing when we left that place. But then through that, uh, out of sheer desperation, out of sheer, we had sold our house, and so we were living in a hotel for a while. I had 2 young
mhm,
kids, my wife and I, my God bless my wife, like, we've lived 3 different lives together, you know,
mm,
and grown together the whole time, and she's the best. But I just
yeah,
I just remember one day sitting there, and we're looking at our savings account, and we're literally counting the days until we have nothing.
mm,
And it was not a lot of days. I
mm,
wasn't counting weeks, I was counting days. I was like, 28 days from now, we are out of money if something doesn't happen. And so, for the first time that I can remember in my entire life, at 33, I said, "What do I want?"
mm,
And I grew up in an environment where that was not an okay question to ask, because
yeah,
it was viewed as selfish, or, that it was all everything I was taught was about building up this organization and building up the leader of that organization. And so I felt almost guilty to even ask that.
mhm,
Um, what do I really want? And
mhm,
Katie and I started talking about what is it that we want to do. And I realized I've only ever wanted to do one thing since I was 7 years old. I wanna be an entertainer. I wanna encourage people, but I wanna do it through entertainment as a vehicle. And I said, "You know what? I will do anything I need to do to make sure our kids eat, to make sure our family's taken care of, to make sure we have a place to live. I'll work any job I gotta work, but I will always wonder what would have happened if I had the courage to go, I'm gonna try doing entertainment full time."
yeah,
And so we just said, "Great, let's let's try it."
mhm,
And it's all I've done since. For the
mm,
last 13 years, I've been a full-time, entertainer, and then that led into, corporate entertainment and then speaking and consulting, and
mhm,
now I get to use magic and comedy as a vehicle to talk about important stuff. So,
yeah,
I'll I'll
yeah,
I'll use a magic trick so that I take really smart people who
mhm,
I have some of these rooms you get involved in, I go, "How in the world am I
yeah,
talking to the head of AI for Microsoft?" and their whole
Mhm.
team right now. But it's because I can show them something they don't understand. Not to make them
Yeah.
feel foolish, but to remind them, "Hey, maybe we don't have it all figured out about our our workplace relationships, or how we
Mhm.
communicate with one another, or how we serve the people that, that we exist to serve." And so, it's wild that the experience I got working with this organization, I'm still utilizing it. It's just
Mhm.
in a way I would have never expected, and at the end of the day, like, still serving other people, like, but I get to do the thing that I always wanted to do since I was a kid.
Yeah. I just feel like there's so much here, Taylor. There's so much to unpack, and I'm like trying to figure out how to do it
Let's just see how it
because
goes.
because
Let's
I
just pull the thread and see what happens.
let's just pull the thread. I mean, so we met at this place, like
Yeah.
we met at this organization
Yeah.
and grew up together in it. And I think what you're saying around how even when a place that in some ways raises you for better or worse,
Yes.
whether that's your home, whether that's a nonprofit, whether
Yep.
that's your church, whether that's your community, no matter what, that kind of container that helps to raise you for better or worse is shaping you into who you're going to become also for better or worse.
Yes.
And there are these moments along the trail of your life where you get to decide. And I think when you talked about being 33 and asking that question, what do I want? That
Yeah.
was a moment where you could have either missed it
Yeah.
and not investigated it
Yeah.
and not found that this was the path for you,
Mhm.
or you could have actually nailed it and carved out this life that you have carved out. And I think in some ways the first thing that comes to mind is no matter what environment you were raised up in,
Right.
there will be an opportunity to
Yes.
shift gears. And
Yeah.
I think that alone is already inspiring. Um, but I'm so curious, well, let me go back because I think I know this. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But right before you decided to go full blown entertainment, I think while you were still at this organization, I
Yeah.
think you might have sold all your stuff.
Oh, yes. Oh, how did I forget this part? This is true.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I was at, basically, I was, as this often happens in certain environments, there's when you don't have access to why decisions are being made, you
Mhm,
make all these assumptions or justifications as to why those decisions are being made. And so you go,
mhm,
well, that's the manager's decision, right? Or that's the
mhm,
executives. They know better than we do. And our job is just to do what they say.
mhm,
And um, I got to a certain place in this organization where they wanted me to take kind of a C-suite level position. And because of that, all of a sudden I'm in every meeting and I'm
mhm,
seeing, why we're making certain decisions and why people who were there for 20 years are just gone one day and no one talks about them. And
mhm,
why we're canceling, these programs that are really helping the community. And I started going, huh, that's interesting. It's interesting.
mhm.
And I felt this tension that we sometimes feel in any organization where there's a disparity between what we say we're about and then what we're actually doing is in
Yeah.
conflict with what we say is important to us. And
Mm,
so I simultaneously, while I'm in this very pressure cookered environment, I was working as a comedian to, make extra money, and because it was my
mhm,
passion, I was doing comedy and magic on Friday and Saturday nights. And so I'd be all week long in stressful in some ways abusive work environments.
yeah.
And then on Friday night, I'd show up at another company and they'd give me a bunch of money and they'd clap for me. And
Mhm,
that was enough of a release of pressure that I'd get through another week. And
mm,
so one day out of nowhere, I've never I think there's been maybe 3 times in my entire life where I felt this kind of like, "Oh, I need to do this
Mm,
assurance," I think most of the time it's like, you just decide what you wanna do, and you try to make good choices, the best you can. But this one, it was like if something divine intervened,
mhm,
and I just
mhm,
felt like, "You need to stop performing. You need to take a break." And I didn't know how long it was gonna be. Um, Now keep in mind, performing is all I ever wanted to do. It's been
yeah,
my passion, my hobby, the gift that I was handed to do something with. And one day I woke up and just went, "I'm taking a break." I took down my website, changed my phone number. I loaded up a trailer with every prop I ever collected, and I drove it 4 hours away to a friend, and I said, "Just sell this stuff and, whatever you get for it, I'm fine with." And
mm,
I just cold turkey stopped performing. And I think if I didn't do that, I would have stayed in this environment I was never, wasn't supposed to be in for
yeah,
way longer because I had
mhm,
an escape.
wow,
Um, and the minute I was just solely focused on what was happening there, I pretty quickly realized, "Oh, this is not I've only ever been here because I felt like this was my way of helping people and making a difference, and the only way I can continue to help people and make a difference is to leave this place."
yes,
But yeah, that was a big part of the process was
yeah,
just was it's interesting to stop doing something that is life-giving because
mhm,
that thing is a distraction from whether you know what I mean? Like, I
yeah,
I I know guys who work, I know people who work in corporate America, and they hate their life, but they got a
yep,
boat, and so on the weekend, they go on the boat, and
mhm,
I think if you didn't take that boat out for 3 weekends, you'd quit. You'd realize you're
yeah,
giving up your life to something, and I think that, I have a friend. It started off as a mentor, still a mentor, but has become a
mm,
beautiful friend named Bob Goff, who's an author, and
mm,
his book was one of the things that was a catalyst for me to move on. But he said to me one day, I was talking to him even recently. I was like, "Yeah, there's this type of event I keep getting asked to do, and I'm really good at this thing, but I don't like
mm,
it. I don't wanna do it. I don't wanna be known for that thing." And he
yeah,
looked at me and he goes, I can play the banjo?" And I went, "What?" He's like, "I'm
amazing,
really good at the banjo." And I'm like, "I've been around you for 11 years, a ton. I've never seen you play the
yeah,
banjo." And he said, "Just because you can do something doesn't mean you have to do it."
yeah,
And I think that most of us, we start in our careers and in our lives and in our relationships, and we got nothing. We don't have credibility, we don't have experience, we don't have money. And then the minute we start to get credibility, experience, money, notoriety, everything becomes about hanging on to what we have
yep,
rather than being the person that was open-minded and had a beginner's
mhm,
mindset that got you to where you're at in the first place.
mhm,
And,
mhm,
so I just love this idea that, like, if someone's listening to this show right now and they are hitting a wall and they're like, "Yeah, but I got the golden handcuffs. Like, if I say
mhm,
no to this, I don't know what else is out there." Well, there might be some beautiful things out there, but you can't
yeah,
see it because 'cause you've built up this wall that this is the only opportunity you're gonna get.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, I think, there's so much in there. I think that I wanted you to share that part because that is something that always we hadn't talked your sister told me that that happened when that happened years and years ago, right?
yeah,
And I remember in my heart
yeah,
feeling like this is huge and I don't think it's when I heard that you'd gotten rid of all your stuff, I was like, I feel like this is huge and not even in the way that he knows it's huge yet. Like that's how I remember feeling.
yeah,
And I think that to your point, I agree that there's no way you would have left unless you were able to give yourself that gift of clarity
yeah.
to say, if I actually fully and listen, I don't think everyone should do this, take this approach. There are
Oh,
other
yeah,
ways to get to clarity, right?
totally,
But I
totally.
but I do think there are certain circumstances where unless you fully abandon yourself and know what that feels like,
Yeah,
you can't return to yourself. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's what you did in that moment. You fully abandoned yourself, what was core to you, unconsciously, because if you knew that that's what you were doing, you wouldn't have done it. But
Mm.
that brought you the clarity of like, "Oh, no, now I have to return to myself."
And do you know that this is such a beautiful way that you said that so much better than I did. But the other thing that was a byproduct of it that I didn't realize
Mm,
is I had so much, just like we do with anything in life, I had a lot of baggage built around performance
yeah.
and a lot of imposter syndrome and concern over what other performers thought of me.
Mm,
And, the political stuff that comes into who's booking what thing and how do you get
yeah.
this or that. And after I gave up performing for a year and I just shut it down, when I picked it back up, I just didn't pick back up the crappy stuff that wasn't gonna
Wow.
add value. Like,
Yeah.
it was so weird to, number 1, not fear loss anymore. Like, what
Mm,
if this all goes away? I didn't do it for a year and I was fine and I was still a person
yeah.
and still lived a life and it was great, you know?
Yeah.
Um, it's interesting to set something down and then decide what parts of it you wanna pick back up.
Yeah. I love that. Oh,
Um,
I love that. I
yes,
love that.
super freeing. Because now it's like, I don't care. I mean, I love the community of performers and,
Mm.
I mean, gosh, we could talk about that, but, like, 'cause for
Mhm.
so long, I didn't engage with people other than work.
Mm.
And every great
Mhm.
thing that has happened in my life has been saying yes to things that made no financial sense, but just
Mm.
because I wanted to build relationship.
Yeah.
Um, but there is something so beautiful of going like, I don't care what any other performer thinks about what I do. I have
Mm.
friends that I value their opinions. I legitimately
Sure.
value their opinions. But I'm not performing. I'm not in this business to impress the
Mm.
other people in this business. I'm
Mm.
in this business to give something to the people who showed up, who, they couldn't receive that, or maybe it would have taken them longer to receive that if I didn't
Yeah.
turn up for them. So, it's
Yeah.
just, that perspective would have never happened.
Mm.
'Cause I think this is
Yeah.
the thing with growth. I'm sorry, I was just gonna say, this is the thing with
No,
growth
keep
you hear someone go through a traumatic thing, and you go like, "Oh, I wish he didn't go through that," and I go, "I don't know if that's the right
yeah.
d the amount." Yeah, yeah, we went through immense suffering and heartache and loss and tons of therapy,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we are now different people, and
Mhm.
and we
Mhm.
can show up for other people in a different way because we speak a different language that we
Yeah.
wouldn't have if that stuff didn't happen. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is the thing about growth that the ROI comes after you've gone through the valley of despair, you know?
Mm,
That's when you know what's on the other side
yes.
was the thing that was intended for you, that was aligned to you, that was but you unless you let go of that old version of yourself, those old stories about yourself, that old baggage about performing, you'll
Yes.
never be able to get on the other side and realize, "Oh, actually, there's freedom over here."
Yeah.
And the way to cultivate that is to go through some shit and let
Yeah.
and let it fall off of you, you know? And
Right.
I think I really appreciate what you're saying about the performance thing. And it's a interesting I feel like I we might have to offline this because I think
Yeah.
I have a lot of baggage with performance too, growing up a
Yeah.
singer and living that life and always wanting to be my most authentic self. And part of it is why I've gotten into the work that I'm in, but I've always struggled to I always want to make sure that my performance when I perform in any way is
Mhm.
still fully aligned with who I am. And you hit the nail on the head when your clarity to me is you're offering something to your audience, to your people, to the listeners that maybe
Mm,
they couldn't come by, as you said, that maybe they couldn't have come by unless you were facilitating that process. And when you realize that performance is a channel to do that, and you let that be what's driving you,
yeah.
then it's not, there's nothing inauthentic about that. That is the work. That is the
Ooh,
sacrifice even, you know?
it's that perspective shift. I had a friend share something similar with me, and it radically messed me up in a good way because, most performers and let's be honest, at the end of the day, we're all performers,
Yeah, 100%.
right? Every person in business is trying to put on a show, trying to impress
Mhm,
people, trying to get
mhm,
praise, right? Um, the thing that radically transformed my work is realizing that my job is not going somewhere to take something from people.
mhm,
Like, I'm not showing up to get applause. Applause happens, but it's a
mhm.
byproduct of a gift you gave somebody, and they're
That's right.
reacting to the gift, right?
That's
It's
right.
like when you drop off a present, you're not there to get somebody to say thank you. You're
Yes.
there because you have something that you're like, "Oh my gosh, they would love this," or "This is gonna
Yes.
make their life better," or "They just had a baby, and if they had this, it's gonna make tonight less stressful. Maybe they'll rest better," right? If you're a speaker, if you're a performer, if you're a presenter, if you're a salesperson,
Mm.
you just need to shift your mentality of, "I'm not trying to go get a sale." No,
Yeah.
you have a product that is going to make someone else's life better. And
Yeah.
now it doesn't matter if they say no. You're just there to offer them the opportunity, right? You're just there to give somebody a gift that they desperately need, and you have recognized the
Yes.
problem they have. And when you do that, it goes great. Your work gets so much better, right?
Yeah.
Because if I'm trying to get applause, then I do things that get applause, not things that make
Mhm.
a difference, right?
Yep.
But if I go, "Oh my gosh, my job is I'm just a delivery person for this
Mhm.
thing that if I don't do it, someone else is gonna come up with it." Like,
Yes. Yes. I love it so much. You talked about this in a social media post months ago about, and we should talk about your book because I think it obviously goes hand in hand with it, but you talked about the difference between if you were to go door to door and hand
yeah.
out, what was it? If
Like
you
a
were to go
subpoena,
door.
like if somebody
Yes,
said,
a subpoena.
"Hey, your neighbor owes 100,000 in back taxes, and you gotta go give him this note that tells him that," you would be like, "I don't want that job. I don't wanna
Mhm.
go do it," and you'd be
Yep.
nervous and you'd be terrified because you know that you showing up is gonna take something from them, as opposed to going, "Hey, these are the greatest cookies on the planet, and they only make them in this special bakery 2 days a year, and I happen to get some. Do you wanna go give them to your neighbor?" You would run over there, right? Because
Yes.
you know that you showing up is gonna make things better for them, and you immediately stop thinking about yourself. Like, when you
Yeah.
have a gift, if it's like, "Hey, that guy got his relative who he didn't even know left him an inheritance. You wanna go give him the check?" Yeah. I'm not thinking about my outfit. I'm not thinking about how he's gonna
Nuf
react to me because you
Yeah.
know you're going to give them something of value.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, now it just becomes like, "Oh, it's so fun to make things for people." Because I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not making the yes, I enjoy the process of creating stuff, but I'm not creating stuff so that they go, "Look how cool you are," or "Look how
Yeah.
impressive you are." I'm creating stuff that I go, "Oh, man, what if things got
Mhm.
better for these folks?
Yeah.
What if this
Yeah.
team who's working really hard felt appreciated and valued?"
Yeah.
You just make better
It's
stuff when it's not about you.
you do. You really do, and I think it's so funny because there's marketing lingo folks are always talking about, like, how do we surprise and delight our audience, right? Or
Right.
how do we whatever. But, like, when you really ingest that as an individual human soul and you
Yeah.
think, "How do I take what I have
Yeah.
and give it as a gift and allow myself to," the benefit for me is to see the joy, the impact, the whatever it is that the receiver gets.
Yes.
That's really what lights us up and keeps us going as human beings. We just get so caught up in the bullshit of, like,
Yeah.
earning a paycheck and all the other things that stress us out that we're constantly trying to, toil with in this life, when in actuality, when we start seeing ourselves as vehicles of
Mhm.
joy and change and gift, and we're just Santa Claus. All each and every one of us is Santa Claus, and we
Yeah.
start living that way. It
You
it starts getting a lot more jolly.
so good. I mean, I think a lot of organizations, like the typical the typical plan in an org is we're gonna create a vision statement, we're gonna create a mission
Mhm,
statement, we're gonna go, this is our core thesis of who we are, and we're gonna print it up on posters, we're gonna stick it on the wall. And then we
mhm.
use that language all the time because we
Yep.
think that creating those kind of practices are gonna make those things happen.
Mm,
But what tends to happen is people get jaded and tired and exhausted,
yep.
and they stop living that out, but they don't stop talking that way,
Mm,
and then the organization dies, right? Because it's
mm,
like we're saying one thing, we're doing the other.
yeah,
As and so I wanted to make sure that, especially being like an entrepreneur that's like us, started off sole proprietor, like I'm just the one guy doing it. I wanna make sure I put in things that remind me, "Oh, that's right. Who do you wanna be? What do you wanna
yeah,
do? What do you wanna leave people with?" And then you don't need to stick something up on a wall, 'cause
yeah, yeah.
your intention is always, that person walked in here and they may have just found out that their wife wants a divorce, and he's
Mm,
gotta deal with this conference he has to be at because, now he's gotta maybe pay for a lawyer,
mhm, yeah,
like, what am I gonna give that guy
yeah,
that's gonna help
yeah,
him, like, get through lunch?
yeah. Oh, exactly, exactly,
So,
exactly. Well, listen, there's so many I feel like there are just so many things. I'm gonna ask you one question, and then I wanna talk to you about your book because I think it's so important. But, both of us work, interestingly enough, in very similar spaces in the corporate side of your work and the
yeah,
coaching side of your work.
yeah.
I wish I were a magician and entertainer, but I definitely don't we don't have that in
You
in
do a different kind of magic. You do
Oh,
real
yeah.
magic.
Very different kind of magic. But, we have the privilege of, to your earlier point, talking to important people who are shaping society and shaping culture
Yeah.
and leading organizations and people who are doing that. And I'm just curious, if you were to give advice to business leaders, really based on some of this core growth and this story that you shared with us today about how to lead better or lead culture better, what advice would you give?
Yeah, I just think ask bigger questions.
Mm,
Again, going back to why I like magic tricks, it's so silly. Like, the idea of, like, "Look what I can do that you do," is dumb because every one of us can do things other people can't do and that are impressive, right? But
yeah.
I love a moment where someone goes, "What in the world? I don't know what just happened." And then
Mm,
we can talk about what else don't we have figured out. And I think this it sounds juvenile, but this idea of, like, never stop having a beginner's mindset. I think that the
yeah.
best thing a leader can do is to go, "Yeah, I don't know." I
Yes.
think that for me, when I was in a position, leading co-leading a very large organization and things got off track, I realized I had just this level of certainty that was unhealthy. I
Mm,
felt like I had
mhm.
it all figured out. I felt
Yeah.
like I knew better than everyone else, and I mean, every single day I'm learning things that I'm like, "I didn't even know that was possible."
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that growth and innovation and healthy leadership all comes from this attitude of, like, I'm not here to be the definitive answer to everything. I'm just here to help facilitate us discovering it and chasing
Yeah.
wonder and going,
Yes.
"Yeah, let's learn together. I don't know. What do you think? Should we try it? Let's go.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can
Yeah.
happen?" Right?
100%. Listen, we have to be testing and learning our way through this life,
Yeah.
not just in like, we already suck at it in work, and that's where so much of my innovation work is like, we
Right.
gotta get in this habit of being comfortable with testing and learning, but we also
Yes.
need to be comfortable with that in our own lives.
Yeah.
And that is what I think it's what's interesting about you is, yes, you spent a long time in one organization until you had this moment that shifted everything. But even in that,
Yeah.
in entertaining along the way and doing your magic, you were so well trained in testing and learning. I
Mm.
remember every year going to your mom's house for the 4th of July and watching you guys test and learn your way through some ridiculous
Oh, yeah,
firework extravaganza.
we did a highly inappropriate, dangerous fireworks show.
So dangerous, dangerous. Oh my god, but so entertaining.
Yeah.
But, like, that was I always felt like that was your Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It felt like that, and it was like, this is a time when you were even modeling for me. I think we're like, it's funny, I think you're
I
maybe
know.
2 years older than me, but I
It's
feel like you're, like, so much my and also your sister's older than you, so weird that,
yeah.
like, I was besties with your sister,
Yeah,
but,
it's
like,
so
you were
wild.
like a big brother in a sense, like, it's, like, funny how weird that dynamic is when you're young.
Yeah.
But I think we all got to watch you with magic, with things like the, 4th of July extravaganza, just experimenting constantly and
Mm.
chasing wonder like your first book talks about, and doing these things where it's like, "Okay, we can" even in the way that you led in that organization, it was some of the most adaptive programming I've ever seen in
Mm.
any organization, right? Like,
Mm.
we were doing some pretty
Wild stuff.
wild stuff, like,
Yeah.
also questionable things at time, but wild stuff, and I but to your point of those things, now, the reason we're able to work with businesses and business leaders the way we
Yeah.
are is because along the way, there was this practice
Yes.
of testing and learning, of experimenting, of
Yes.
getting comfortable with that and being comfortable in the uncomfortable. And right now I'm working on a training, leading transformation training for
Mm.
a iconic brand that we all know and love.
Yeah.
And the thesis of that is all about like getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Change management is different from transformation management. Change
Right.
management, you know what you're trying to change.
Right.
Transformation, you don't know. So you
Yeah.
got to get comfortable in that space.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I just went on a tangent. I'm sorry. Um,
No, it's beautiful, like, I think that, we forget or we don't talk enough about how much leadership in business is just fear driven.
yeah.
People are terrified to make a mistake, to lose their job. No one wants to try something that they don't already know is gonna work, which means
Mhm.
you don't need to be crazy innovative to be revolutionary
You really
because
don't.
people are so afraid to try things. But
Mhm.
I would if I could leave any encouragement with business leaders, I just heard this story about, Michael Jackson calling his crew together at 3 in the morning to record once. Have you heard this story?
No, I don't think so.
So apparently Michael Jackson called like the producers and engineers and got everyone like, we need to go to the studio right now. And they went at 3 in the morning and they recorded this song. And he said, everyone was like, why do we have to do this at 3 in the morning? And he said, because the ideas come. He believed that creative ideas they need to exist in the world. And so whether you want to believe it's God or the universe or
Mhm,
whatever the
mhm,
muse is that's holding this whole thing together, it's gonna get that idea out, and it's trying to choose people who are tuned into it. And
mm.
so his response was, "Because if I don't do it, God will give this idea to Prince."
Mm,
And
I
so,
love it.
if you're a business leader and you are hesitating to try something new, be
Mm,
creative, get outside the box, just decide right now which one of your competitors you're okay with doing that idea that's gonna change the industry. Like,
mm.
we've gotta stop being so scared to do something
Yes.
different that we don't do anything that's of value, you know? Anyway.
Yes. I love that so much. Well, okay. There's well, I feel like we have, like, barely scratched the
I
surface,
know.
truly, there are just so many levels, but I do wanna talk about your book, Tell It Well, because I think this book is just a gift to people, like, talk about the gift, your gift of public speaking. I just wanna let you talk about this book that you've written, why you've written it, and who should
Oh.
read it.
Oh my goodness, I so appreciate it. I've writ this is my 3rd book I've written, and every time I write a
Mhm.
book, I go, "I'm never doing it again." And then an idea comes and you go, "You know what? I just feel like it needs to be out there." Um, so this book, it's a book on public speaking. It's called Tell It Well, but it's a definitive guide to public speaking for people who'd rather be anywhere else. And
Love
my
it.
goal with this is not to write specifically to people who wanna be professional presenters. If that's what you wanna do, if you wanna be a keynote speaker, this is chock full of stuff that's gonna help you.
Mm.
But I noticed that so many of us don't aspire to stand behind a mic, but because of the position that we hold or because of a
Yeah.
passion that's in our heart that we go, "This needs to be a message that gets out there to the world," we need to learn some skills that we can, get rid of the imposter syndrome, get
Mhm.
rid of the butterflies, and go from being, nervous to being confident in what you're there to share. And so it covers
Yeah.
everything from how to give over stage fright to how to prepare a message, to how to utilize illustrations that people are never gonna forget. And
Mm.
my whole goal with this was the person who, they have to present for work and they hate it, but they keep getting
Yeah.
asked to do it because it's not that they're not a great speaker, they just have a hard time getting past some of the things that we build up around it. So, I'm very excited about it. It's in pre-order right now. You can get it at
Amazing.
tellitwellbook.com. And, I also for anyone who pre-orders the book, I did a 2-hour workshop and a masterclass on public speaking that you just get for free when you pre-order the book, so,
That's incredible. That
um
is such a great deal. If you are listening, you definitely need to pre-order. That's amazing.
yeah,
I love that so much. I think, again, you're spot on. There's so many people that, yeah, didn't sign up for like, I want a life in public speaking, but
right,
work demands that of them. And frankly, I think it is a difference maker in people even getting to elevate themselves in their careers, even if they're not trying to become a public speaker. The better you are at being
yes,
able to communicate and share the story of whatever it is that you're working on, I mean, nowadays where we need more data storytellers and we need
right,
storytelling in spaces that we don't even think like require stories. Stories is it's so important. So I just think the way that you've written this and the audience you've written it for, there's a huge need. So I'm excited for folks to pick it up. And also, I didn't read your second book. I'm ashamed to admit that, but
you
I
don't
read your
even don't be
first one.
ashamed to admit it.
I read your first one so fast, like I ripped
It's an easy
through
read.
it. It's such an easy read, Chasing Wonder, and I loved it so much. And also, it just felt like again, kinda like reading my big brother's book and reliving some of
You're
these
like, "Oh, I
moments
was there
where
for some of
yeah.
this."
Yeah, it was really fun. It was really fun, but Tell It Well, definitely pick it up. I we're gonna go into rapid fire, but I
Okay.
just wanna before we do rapid fire, I just wanna say that I just feel so proud of you in the least condescending way possible. It's been so sometimes when you say I'm proud of you, it feels like, "Oh, I don't know, like I'm above you." I mean it like I just feel so it's amazing to watch people's journey and to watch people I think the thing I'm getting choked up because what lights me up more than anything is watching people self-actualize and self-align in a way that is so true that no one can dispute it.
Mm,
And now when I look at you and look at what you're doing and look at the adaptive life you're creating for yourself, it just it feels so deeply authentic and that alone is inspiring to me. And so I'm so grateful that you're out there doing the work you're doing. And I feel like maybe we might need to tag team some work together.
Oh my goodness, we get in the most beautiful mischief.
It would be
It'd
pretty
be
fun.
so good.
It would be pretty fun. Yeah, it would be pretty fun. So, rapid fire, you ready?
I'm ready, I think.
Okay. Well, we try to do this rapid fire, it doesn't always work, but we'll see, we'll do our
Okay,
best. Fill in the blank.
I'll keep it short
Do
responses.
your best
Here we
because
go, here we go.
uh,
We can do it.
fill in the blank. Growth is
Oh, I'm filling in the blank. Growth is possible.
possible. Love it. What was the very first thing you realized you were good at as a child?
Making people laugh.
Of course. What was your first job?
I worked for Peanuts TV and Appliance delivering big screen TVs.
Oh my god, that's amazing and also terrifying
Mhm,
somehow.
mhm.
Who was the best boss you ever had?
Ooh, well, this is gonna sound like I'm getting brownie points, but my wife.
Oh
We
my
used to
god, I
work
love
w
her.
when we were in high school, we worked at an after school daycare place, and she was the boss, and she was
Sh
the funnest.
Oh my god, I love that so much.
And so I
That's
married her, and
amazing.
she's still the boss.
Katie so she is that so the moral of the story is find a good boss and marry them.
There you go.
Um, what's something you're trying to learn right now?
Ooh, I'm trying to learn, I'm learning bass guitar. So I've played guitar my whole life, but now I'm trying to
Man,
learn bass. That's not like a
okay.
leadership-y thing.
I
What
love that.
do you want a
Yeah.
leadership-y
No,
thing?
that's perfect. I
Okay.
mean, no, not at all. That's perfect. If you want a leadershipy thing, or share a leadershipy thing, you can.
No, well, the other thing I thought, again, not leadership-y, but I'm, learning how to carry on a bag, only travel with a carry-on.
Oh
It's
my
like a
gosh. Well,
strategy. Mhm.
wait, how do you do that with things? What you do you mean like when you're not doing any magician parts of your entertainment, or like are you trying to also
Um,
include your equipment?
yeah, no, both. Yeah, so I've been traveling for the last month with just a carry-on, and it's been the greatest thing ever.
Well, listen, I am a travel with a carry-on person and I'm psycho because I bring all this stuff I facilitate with all the
Yeah.
time and it's like crazy the kind of Tetris thing I have to do to
Oh,
get it
yeah.
in a
Oh, I love.
carry-on.
Okay, we could talk offline about that because I could go
Okay.
crazy, yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
so
yeah, we'll
I'm
have to
trying to
talk.
learn more about that, like, I'm watching videos on how to pack shirts so they're
Yeah,
teeny tiny and stuff, yeah.
totally. I mean, I'm like, I bring one outfit, 2 pairs of underwear, and that's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
I wash things in the sink. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
uh,
Yes.
anything to avoid having to pack a full-on suitcase. What's something you're trying to unlearn?
Cynicism.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Um, Tell me a book or a movie that changed your life.
A book that changed my life would be Love Does by Bob Goff.
Yes.
Um, a movie that changed my life? I think Back to the Future is the greatest movie ever.
I think I maybe could have said you were gonna answer that.
I think it's a perfect film. Yeah, I'm surrounded. I can't move the camera, but I'm surrounded by Back to the Future things in here.
Oh my god, I love it so much. When growth feels good, how do you celebrate?
I mean, I celebrate everything with food generally. So,
What's like your go-to celebration meal?
oh my goodness. I love, La Tolteca
Oh,
Mexican food.
so good. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Mhm.
There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. We do a burrito crawl. We're on our this December will be our 3rd annual burrito crawl, and I took them to La Tolteca for this
Oh,
year's burrito crawl, and
so
it
good.
was amazing.
It's so good.
Um, it's just so good. It's so
Yeah.
good. Okay, when growth feels hard, how do you take
Yeah.
care of yourself?
Hmm. I have learned to meditate. That's been a big thing. Um, I take lots of walks. So
Mhm.
when I am, especially when I'm trying to push through something or learn something new, I will wake up extra early and I'll just walk.
Mm,
Um,
yeah,
and yeah, sometimes I need to just turn off everything else, take a long walk, and you come back and it's like you get flooded with ideas. So
yeah, totally agree. What would your 8-year-old self say about the life you're living today?
he'd lose his mind.
He
He'd
would.
lose his mind. He'd be like, "That's your wife?" Um, yeah, 8-year-old me, I have had, a practice for years of whenever I am really wrestling with the decision, I will talk to my 8-year-old self, and
Same.
that kid has all the answers
Yes.
because he's too young to know about all the crap that we add to stuff that doesn't matter.
Mhm.
And he just, it's just like, yeah, why not? But if 8-year-old me saw the life that I live and the fun stuff I get to do and the fact that I'm doing comedy and magic for a living, he would be like, that kid would have relaxed a lot more, you
Mhm.
know, into
Mhm.
junior high and high school, knowing it was gonna be
Oh, man, I love that. Okay, last question is when you grow all the way up and you leave this life, what
yeah.
is it that you hope to congratulate yourself on?
I think just that I enjoyed it.
Mm,
It again, with our work, and you would say the same probably, like, we work with people who are very successful.
mhm.
They've checked all the boxes. They've done all the things they thought they wanted to do,
Yep.
and most of the ones I talk to go, "I don't know how to enjoy."
Mm,
Like, they were so stressed the whole
yeah.
time. Every person
Yeah.
who's ever been on Saturday Night Live talks about how it's the greatest thing ever, but when they were doing it, they never had any fun because
Mm,
they were too stressed, and so yeah, I hope someday I hope when it's all over, I can just go, "Yeah, I was actually there for it.
yes.
I wasn't a spectator of my own life. I actually
Mm,
got to be in it." So,
yeah. Listen, I think you're doing it. I think you're doing it, and I love to watch it, and it's inspiring, and I'm just so grateful for you for the work you're doing in the world, for how you have allowed yourself to go through this transformation. It's a gift to all of us. Thank you for being you, and I hope we do many more episodes in the future, and
oh
you
my
write many
goodness.
more books and
And
all the things.
thank you. I mean, for the work that you do not on here, phenomenal.
Mm.
Like, the
Oh,
world is
thank
better
you.
because of who you are, and the fact that you're curating these conversations. Most of these things are, they're gifts that we get to have sitting with a friend over coffee, and the fact that
Mm.
you're putting those in one place where the rest of us get to be a fly on the wall is so helpful. So thank you for doing what
Oh,
you're doing.
thanks, Taylor. Thank you. All right, y'all. We'll see you next time.